Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Claritysoft Focus Training webinar. Today is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019, and today's topic is an introduction to the Projects module. The Projects module is fairly new to Claritysoft, and so some of you may have already started to use it, or today perhaps you're trying to learn enough about it to decide if you would like to use it in your Claritysoft. The Projects module is an add-on module. So if you do not currently have it, then you would need to talk with your account representative about getting that added to your Claritysoft database. For today's webinar, first of all, giving you a quick overview of what you can do with the Projects module. Then, like the other modules in Claritysoft, there are certain customization settings that you need to make sure that it's going to work properly for you. There are different types of projects that you can create, and you can create multiple project types with different names, and each of those project types can have different stages or steps that you walk through during the course of the project to complete the project. So they're similar to the sales stages in the opportunities module, but in this case, you're working to complete an implementation, a construction project, or something like that. Once you've set all of that up, you are able to take an opportunity record, a quote record, or a sale record and convert it to a project to create that project record. You can decide which way you want to do it within your system. If you want to do it when a sale is won in the opportunity module, you can convert it to a project. Or you could do it from the sale record if you're using the sales module. So we'll talk about doing that. And then along with projects, we have activities that you can assign to the project. And you do those in the form of an action plan. You create the action plan and you apply it to the project when you create the new project record. It drops all the activities in, schedules the dates that you have assigned to them, and then you go down through your activities. As you complete those activities from the action plan, there is a little progress meter that will show you what % of the project has been completed according to the activities that have been marked completed. So that is a way for you to monitor the progress to know where you are in the activities that you've set up. Let me switch to my Claritysoft. And I am looking here at the Projects module. Again, if you have it turned on, you will see it over here in the navigation panel. If you do not have it in your database, you will not see it. The other thing is the person who's going to customize the project module does need to have admin rights in the database in order to get to the settings for it. So in projects, just like in the other modules, you have what's called list view. You can see there are some sample projects in here. A project will have a name. It will be assigned to someone who is the lead person on the project. It can be any user in the system. And then you have a project type. These are the customizable names that you can create. And as I said, you can have multiple ones. And then you'll have a start date and a due date. So when you create your project, you're going to put the start date for the project and when it is due to be completed. The due date is changeable so that you can update it if things hit a snag along the way. The value of the project will come from either the opportunity, quote, or sale record when you convert it over. So that will bring the value over so that you can see it. And then this is your progress meter. So you can see with these projects here that this one is 33% done according to the activities that have been completed in the project. And if I click here on the expand button, I will see the list of activities and you can see which ones have been completed. So 1/3 of the activities have been completed here. When the activity is completed, notice that here it crosses it out. So visually you can look down and see, oh, we did this one, we did this one. So we'll talk about that when we set up the action plan. but you can see that all the activities there. And then like the other modules, you can see the account information for the account that goes with the project and the contact information. So this is the same as the other modules. And then you can see your products and services that have come into the project. This one doesn't have any, the value is 0. And then you have a team tab where you can add team members to your project. And we'll talk about that. So this will maintain a list. You will change your stages in the project as you work through the project. Right now, we're not seeing the stage, so we can come here to the vertical ellipsis button, column settings, and then we can find project stage. And any other pieces of information that you want to pull over. Just like the other modules, it works the same way. And I have this one sorting by the due date in descending order, so the newest to oldest. You may sort it any way you like. I just did that for purposes of today, so the most recent project is up at the top of the list for us, since this is all sample data. So what do you use the projects module for? As I said, it is for those companies or businesses that once you've completed the sale process, you need to continue. There's something that needs to be accomplished. You need to build something for someone. You need to implement or install software. You need to install hardware and configure it. Maybe you're doing consulting services and you need to track the steps you have completed. So any number of things can be used for this, that once you've completed that sale, kind of drops you off at the end of the opportunity to win it. And then what do you do? How do you monitor? So that's why we created the projects module, to allow you to continue that process and separate it from the sales process. So this gives you a very simple, easy way to do it. Now, this is not high-level project management, but it allows you to work with your project and walk yourself through the different stages sequentially until you complete it. So with a project, and this one is a sample one for onboarding software, you have a name for it, and then you create stages just like you do in your opportunity record, that you walk through your stages until it's completed, and then that project is done. And as you're working, you're doing your activities and monitoring those, and you're filling in any custom fields that you wish to add to the project module. I've got a couple of custom fields here already that I have added. I will add another one to show you how to do it. So it's just a nice way to, in a sense, separate the sale from now what you have to get done after the sale. So I'm thinking all of you are probably thinking of different ways that you can use this right now. So the things that you need to look at or configure are in the settings, and there are certain things that you need to set up. There are preferences to set up, which allows you to set up the numbering system. So each project can have a number, just like an opportunity and a sale and a quote can have numbers. And so you can set up your preferences for your numbering. You create your different project types, and you may have multiple project types depending upon what types or different types of projects you do, and whether they have different stages that you would want to have for each of those project types. If you do pretty much the same thing, you can have one project type. If you do multiple things, then you might have multiple project types. So you go to settings, and then you go to your customization, and down here you will see projects, and then you have custom fields, you have preferences, and you have your project types. So your preferences here would be, as I said, your numbering, where you can start with number 1, the leading zeros. It would be 5 leading zeros and a prefix of P or PR, or whatever you want to put. So you may put in here where you want to start. If you have a numbering system and you want to start with a specific number, then you can set that as your starting number. And then once you've set that, you click apply to save it, And then as you create your projects, then the system will automatically increment for you. Project types, you can have different project types. Now, when you first get the project module, there will be two sample types already in here, one called customer project and one called internal project. These are just samples, and when you open them up, you will simply see a sample set of stages and a setup here. So you can ignore this and create your own new project type, which we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and add a new project type. You put in a name. I'm going to call this new onboarding just to keep it different from the one that's already there. Now you have two categories. You either are doing a customer project, which is what you're going to be doing most of the time, or you're doing an internal project. So this would allow you, if you had an internal project that you were working on, some sort of reorganization or something internally, then you can set your project type to be an internal project type. Most of the time it's going to be customer. When you create this, and I'm doing this a little bit out of sequence here, you can create them from a conversion, and when it is created from a conversion, you can automatically assign it to a specific person. So if there's one person who's going to be the project manager, let's say, then you can automatically assign it to that person. I'm logged in here as administrator, so I'll just say assign it to administrator. And then automatically start this action plan. Now, obviously, before we would create the project type, we should create the action plan, but I wanted to create the project type first, so you understood that. But you can create an action plan, which is a list of your activities that you will do during the project, and then you can assign it. We'll do that later. When you open a new project, you can have the system prompt you to start the action plan. So it just confirms, yes, I want to assign this action plan, because you don't have to assign it. Or if you don't select this, it will automatically apply the action plan when a new project is created. And then enabled simply means that this project type is enabled and active in the system. So once you've filled this in up here, your next step is to come down below here to the project stages and create your list of stages that you want to use for the progress of your project. So again, like I said, this is similar to your sales stages and opportunities. So you click an add button and you will put in a name, and each stage is going to either be active or inactive. The inactive would be used when you get to the final stage where the project is completed. Everything else should be active. Click add. This is a sort of watered down version of our implementation process here at Claritysoft. You may have as many stages as you like. Add one more here. So when I get to the final stage where the project is complete, everybody's signed off, they're all good, everything's good, then you can say the project is complete and now it's inactive. So I have my steps here. If you get something out of order, you can click to select the step and then use your row action button over here to move it up or down, or you can delete it as well. So you are able to move things around if you want to insert another step in there. Now here's the key thing to remember. This save button is down here at the bottom, and sometimes it's off the bottom of your screen. So once you set all this up, it's very important to come down here to the lower right and click the save button to save all the work that you just did. So now I'm back to my project types, and I have the new onboarding project type there. So I've created that. If I wanted to add custom fields to my projects, I can click on the Custom Fields tab. So again, just like your other modules, you may add any number of custom fields. Now, these custom fields will be in all of the project types that you create. So just so you understand that. So whatever you add here will show up in any project type record that you create. So I've already got product level in here, which is simply a drop down. I just created this ABC, simple. Number of users is a number field. I have a territory drop down, and this particular field is actually carrying through the entire database. It starts in the leads module. It goes to accounts, contacts, opportunities, quotes, sales, and over to projects. So you can create a custom field starting in leads and have it land in projects by just creating it everywhere throughout the database, which I think most of you that are here know that. And then I want to add one more custom field here for database name. And that's just going to be a text field. Save it. Once you save it, then you know you need to go to your user interface templates. And notice you have a project's customer UI template and a project's internal UI template. So here I need to go to the customer one. And in the interest of saving time, I will select the all profile. And then here is my database name. And if I want the territory field, I can bring that over here too. So I get all of them here. And then I will mention this while I'm here, because this is somewhat new. We've now added throughout the database these conversion IDs and conversion dates that you can bring into view in the different records. So you could, if you are consistently converting your projects from the opportunity to a project, you could pull that field over here to know when you did it. This would be when a lead is converted from a lead to create an account. And you can have that be visible so that you then can use that maybe to generate some statistics on the times that it takes to move from one phase to the next within your database. So I'll just mention that. You might want to go in and explore that. All right, I'm going to save this. Then we need to log out. So if I go to projects and I now open my project record, I will now see the database name field and the territory field here that I just added to the user interface template. So I've got that done. Now, the next setup that I want to do is the action plan. And those are here in your settings all by themselves. Action plans could be used in the leads module, the contacts module, you can apply them, and then the projects module. So you can create different action plans and then apply them in different parts of the database when you want to use them. So this one is a previous onboarding action plan that I created. Basically, an action plan is a bundle of activities that you put in and you say, okay, I want to do this activity first. You pick the activity type, and then you set how many days from the start of the action plan do you want this to begin. And so you can see I've got days listed here all the way out to 38 days out. So you just start building it, and it bundles these all together under one package. So let me go start to build one. I won't build the whole thing just in the interest of time, but you go to action plans You click Add, and then you give your plan a name. Then you can put a description in here. Then here is a checkbox for exclude weekends. So if you do not want to count weekends in the days, the number of days, then you would click that checkbox. If you want to include weekends, you just uncheck it. Then you come down here and you're going to click Add a new activity. So this is similar to the stages where you're just going to start adding your activities that you want in your action plan. And your schedule, the initial meeting can be your first activity perhaps. Again, you would do what you need to do. It can be any of your activity types. So this will be a list of all the activity types that you have in your system, and it's possible you might need to add some. So if I'm going to call the person to schedule a meeting, you have the priority, probably doesn't matter here. You have the person. An activity can be assigned to a specific person. The other thing that gives it flexibility is it can be assigned to whomever owns the record. So whoever the owner of the project record is would be the person that would become the default owner of the activity. So if you got a process where different people handle different activities, as you are creating these activities in the plan, you can assign them to the different people so that they get those activities in their activities to-do list and know what they need to do and for whom. So you pick which person you want it to be assigned to. Then you have to decide, well, okay, how long after the start of the action plan does this activity need to be done? Well, if you've converted the project over and created the record today, you probably want to get in touch with the new customer as soon as possible. So you could start it as of today and make it due no later than 2 days from now that you should get in touch with that person and schedule an initial meeting. Then you can also set a reminder if you want to have a reminder at whatever time on the due date, on the start date, okay, probably the start date. Then I'm not going to do this, so I'll have a million reminders popping up. You can select a category. This is from the category that's inside the activity module, if you want to set that. And then these two here, if you have created custom categories in your activities module, they will display here. Then you save it. So you've got your first activity in, and then you add your additional activities. So you can go to your next activity, which is the initial meeting, and it might be a meeting type. And your goal is to maybe start that meeting or have that meeting scheduled within the first 4 to 5 days of the person coming on board, and maybe completed within 7. And again, you can select a category here, and you just simply work your way down, adding your different activities. Once you've added all your activities to the plan, then you click Save. Again, if it's off the bottom of the screen, make sure you scroll down there and find that Save button to save it. So you now have your other plan here. And as I said, you can add as many action plans as you need to apply in different areas of your database. They don't have to just go with projects. Okay, so now we have everything in line, and we can go back to our projects. And I can go to project types and open my new onboarding project type. And now I can select my action plan that I didn't do before. So this, I'm going to do this one because that one's complete. So I now have everything in here that needs to be. Everything is set up. I've added my project type. I've added custom fields and edited the user interface template. I've created the action plan and applied it in the project type, and I've set my numbering preference. So I've done everything that needs to be done. So I have a project that is already here, but I have another project that I'm ready to convert. So I'm going to show you that process. So I'm going to go to Opportunities. And in Opportunities, I have one right here that's one. I want to click here. I should have another one I created. So here's another one that I created with Acme Company. And this one is at the negotiation stage. So I'm going to say, well, we just won this. So I'm going to go to my sales stage and change it to 1. I would also fill in any other information here. I'm not sure where these are, so let me see. They're in California. Okay, so I can come back here to territory. This should have been filled in before, but it wasn't. So I'm going to make sure that all of my fields, especially those that I know go to projects, are filled in. And then I'm going to do a save. Now you could do this 2 ways. If you have lots of opportunities in your list, it's probably easiest to simply click the Save button, which will save the data and leave the record open. If you click Save and Close, then it's going to disappear into the list, and then you would have to do a search to find the company. So I think it's easier if you've come in here, you've changed things. Now, if you are not doing the opportunity and it's somebody else is converting it for you, you don't have to worry about it, but that's what you would do. So I save it, it stays open, and I come here to my vertical ellipsis button, go to Convert to Project. And then it shows me the project or the opportunity name, and I click Convert, confirm that I want to do it. So it has now done that, and I do a Save and Close. Now in Opportunities, I'm looking at all opportunities here. I could switch this to 1 this month, and I would see the 2 opportunities here that have already been converted. Now, one of the things you could do too is you could add a final stage in your opportunity sales stages. It says Convert to Project, and then that would, you would know that it has been converted to project, and then you would be able to, you know, see that that was done. So it would be equivalent to winning and make it a 1 opportunity. So again, you can look at that, decide, talk with your team about that. So we've got these 2. Now when I go back to projects, I will now see my new project for Acme Company. So here's my Acme Company project that I just converted. And notice it automatically sets it to initial meeting, the first stage, and my activities are all here. So all of my activities in my action plan have been dropped in here, and the dates have been calculated, and that's what the action plan does for you according to those days to start and to be due. It calculates those dates. So today's the 23rd. I'm supposed to get this scheduled kickoff meeting started by the 24th and hopefully accomplished by the 29th. And it just keeps working its way down through. Now, again, in your situation, you may be on a very fixed type of schedule where you know you must do this so many days out and that sort of thing. Or it can be more flexible. Our schedule as implementation people is very flexible because it goes on the customer, You know, whatever you have available when you're in town, we can schedule meetings. So you don't have to get these things done on these days, but it's a time frame to work within. If I've done this activity, let's say, I can open it up and I can put a note in here, and then I can say scheduled for 4/26. I'll put in the year, okay, and then I can mark it complete. So if I do complete, now you'll see that that's marked complete and it's crossed off. So it's a way for me to work down through. And some people work in, they might have 20 steps to do, but some of the steps, 3 of them might get all done in one day. It doesn't matter. Now, in the action plan, I didn't mention this. If you don't put those time frames in, if you just leave them all at 0, what Claritysoft will then do is it will put the activities in the order of the activities that you, as you enter them in the plan, then you can just go down through these and mark them off as you complete them. So you might get activity 1 and 3 and 4 done on the same day. So you mark them complete, you know they're done. It's just a guideline for you to know what you need to do and when you need to do it, but you're not tied into these dates here if you don't put anything in. So that's a flexibility that we've built into it for you. So again, I would work my way through. I would continue to set where I am on my stage. If I've done the meeting, we're at the customize the database stage. Obviously, we would have to create the database, call it Acme, and again, I can click Save to save things as I'm working. So once you're in your project, you just continue to update your stages, update your activities. You can add additional activities if you need to in the list to log things. But up here, see my progress meter? It's at 12% because I finished 1 of 8 activities. If I complete my kickoff meeting, you will see it progress. So now I'm at 25%. So the action plan allows you to use this progress bar up here. If you just put activities in without applying an action plan, which you can do, then the progress bar will not react to those activities. So it's up to you how you do it, and you just work through. Now, the other thing that you can add to your project, if you wish, is a team. So you can click the plus sign, and then you can choose, is this person an internal person or an external person? So it might be your internal team, and then you can put the person's name in, and then what role, you know, maybe he's the project leader, and then save it. So you can add your team members here, and you might have different team members for different projects that you're running. And you just add your members and what role they play. So that's there. And then you can do save and close. And then just like in the other modules, you have your filters up here at the top for seeing customer projects. Inactive projects would be ones that are completed. And internal projects would be internal projects that you're working on within the company. And all projects would show you everything, internal and external or customer. So if I go in, we've got a couple here that are transitioned to tech support. So they're inactive because that's what we said the stage would make it inactive, so they're completed. So you can use your filters. You can search. Again, if you have more than 20 projects at least, you can search by typing the company name or the project name into the quick search box at the top. And then you can set up different filters using advanced search to search by the stage or by a range of dates or by the product level or whatever fields you have in there. Again, if you're looking for specific things on custom fields, then you can do that. And again, when you create an advanced search, you can save it as a view so that you can very quickly pull up different types of projects. So it works the same way as anything else in Claritysoft with the advanced searches. That's projects. Very easy to set up, helps you organize after you sold something to someone, projects that need to be done. And thank you for being here. If you need any help with anything in your Claritysoft, especially if you start setting up projects module, and you can use our support portal in Claritysoft. You click on the question mark in the upper right corner, go to support portal, and then you look up projects and you will get the help topics for projects, and also look up action plans and you will get the help topics for action plans, which should help you get through this, especially after watching the webinar today. And then any other information, new topics, we're coming up on the end of the month. We only have one more webinar this month, and then we have to plan for May. So if you have any really super duper ideas, then please let us know at info@claritysoft.com, because we're always trying to think of new things to present. Since we record all of this and you can watch it, anything new is helpful to get new topics out there for everyone to have as a resource. So send us some ideas in the next week or so, because we will be setting up the schedule for May. And also any critiques, suggestions on improvement for the webinars, please let me know. That's always helpful. And with that, I will go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you for coming and have a good rest of the afternoon.